There is a driveway, ordinary, concrete, empty. You have been sitting in your car in front of it since before midnight. You are not waiting for a person exactly. Not anymore. You are waiting for a feeling to arrive. The one where everything you suspect becomes something you know. The sun is going to come up eventually. It always does. And when it does, it is going to confirm something. You have already started to understand in the dark. This is not a story about a robbery. Robberies happen in an instant. This is a story about the 8 hours between suspecting and knowing and what a person does. On the other side of that driveway, you have been working since you were a kid. Not a paper route, not a part-time job after school. Actual work, television, cameras, lines memorized before you were old enough to fully understand what fame was or what it would cost you later. You became known for it, a face people recognized in grocery stores, in airports, on the street. And here's the thing nobody tells child performers: the fame arrives fast. The financial wisdom does not arrive at all unless somebody specifically gives it to you. You are lucky. Someone did. Your mother taught you one thing early and repeatedly: save it. Not spend it, not flash it, save it. So while other kids your age in the same industry bought cars they couldn't drive yet and watches they didn't need, you put the money away quietly, year after year, show after show. By the time you are an adult, you have saved $1.5 million. Not because you got lucky with one giant payday, because you were disciplined for over a decade. You trust one man with this money, your accountant, not a stranger, someone who has been in the room for years, someone your family brought in early, someone who has filed your taxes, managed your accounts, sat across from you at dinners, shaking your hand at every milestone. Trust like that does not happen all at once. It accumulates, meeting after meeting, year after year of nothing going wrong. And the specific danger of trust like that is that it starts feeling like a decision. It starts feeling like a fact, something you no longer examine, because examining it would feel like an insult to someone who has never given you a reason to ask. You are an adult now, working steadily, but not the way you used to. The industry that's made you famous as a child is not always generous to the adult version of the person it discovered. You start to think about what comes next. Not another show, a foundation, something permanent. You start thinking about a house, not a mansion, a home, something modest, something stable, down the street from where your mother lives, close enough that the family that helped you save all this money can still be part of the life you are about to build with it. You do the math. $400,000 for the house, over $1 million left over. Enough, if you are careful, to never have to worry again. This is the moment everything was supposed to be for. You call your accountant: I'm buying a house. Meet me at escrow. Bring a check. He says yes.
Everything is going to be perfectly fine.
You drive to the escrow office with the specific lightness of someone about to complete the one transaction that makes everything else feel like it was worth it. The paperwork is laid out. The other parties are seated. Everyone is ready. All that's missing is a man with a check who has never once failed to show up. You wait. 5 minutes is normal. Traffic happens. 10 minutes is still normal. 15 minutes is the first moment. Your stomach does something you don't have a name for yet. You call him. No answer. You call again. No answer. The people around the table start to exchange the specific look. that people exchange. When a meeting has gone on too long, without the thing it was scheduled for, you call a third time, the phone rings and rings into a silence. That is starting to feel less like an accident and more like a decision someone else made without telling you. You leave the escrow office. Without a house, you drive straight to his. Not because you have a plan, because your body needs to be moving towards something, and his front door is the only direction that makes any sense. You knock, nothing. You call one more time, standing on his porch, listening for a phone ringing somewhere inside the house that will prove he's just stepped away for a minute. You don't hear anything. You walk back to your car. You do not start the engine. You park in his driveway instead, and you decide without fully deciding that you are not leaving until you have an answer. Midnight passes. You do not sleep. You do not eat. You sit in the car with the specific stillness of someone whose mind has not yet caught up to what their instincts have already started to suspect. Every set of headlights that turns onto the street makes your whole body straighten. None of them turn into the driveway. The night moves the way nights move. When you are waiting for something, you are afraid to define. Slowly, then somehow also all at once, you check your phone. No calls, no messages, just the small, steady glow of a screen that has nothing new to tell you. 2 in the morning, 3, 4, you are no longer asking, where is he? You are starting to ask a much worse question. What did he do? The mind at 4 in the morning in a car, in a driveway, starts assembling possibilities in an order it would never allow in daylight, each one worse than the last. You do not want to land on the worst one, so you keep circling it the way people circle the thing they already know but have not yet said out loud, even to themselves. The sky starts to change, not all at once, a degree at a time, black surrendering to a deep, reluctant blue. This is the moment in every story like this where the truth stops circling and lands. The driveway is still empty. The house is still dark. The man you have trusted for over a decade has not come home. Not because something happened to him, because nothing happened to him. He is simply somewhere else on purpose, because he knew exactly what he had done and exactly what waiting for you in that driveway would mean. You do not need anyone to tell you anymore. You already know. $1.5 million gone, not stolen in an instant, the way a robbery happens, taken slowly, deliberately by someone with years of unsupervised access and your complete uninterrupted trust. Every show you worked as a kid, every dollar you didn't spend when everyone around you was spending everything, every year of discipline your mother instilled in you, specifically so this could never happen, gone. Not because you were careless, because you trusted the one person whose entire job was making sure you never had to worry. You think the worst part is over. It is not. Weeks later, a letter arrives, the kind of envelope that announces its seriousness. Before you even open it, inside, a tax bill, years of unpaid taxes plus penalties, accumulated quietly, while the man responsible for filing them was doing something else with your money entirely. He did not just take what you had saved, he left behind a debt in your name that you did not know existed until the government came looking for it. The betrayal was not a single moment. It was a structure built slowly over years, designed to fail silently until it couldn't anymore. You sue him. It takes time. It takes money you don't have. It takes sitting across a courtroom from the same face that used to sit across a desk from you, nodding, reassuring, trustworthy. You win. The judge rules in your favor. On paper, justice happens exactly the way it's supposed to. But here is what nobody explains about winning a lawsuit against someone who has already spent everything they took. A judgment is just paper. It does not refill an account. It does not undo a tax bill. It does not give you back the version of your life that existed before the driveway. You won, and you are still bankrupt. Bankruptcy. The word lands differently when you are the person it's happening to, not a number on a spreadsheet. A complete dismantling of every plan you ever made based on the assumption that the money was still there. The house down the street from your mother, gone before it ever existed. The retirement you calculated, gone. The version of your life where you never had to worry again, gone. You are not just back to zero, you are below zero, carrying debt that exists only because someone you trusted decided your money was theirs to spend. You have a choice now. Every story like this arrives at exactly this fork. You can let this become the explanation for everything that goes wrong for the rest of your life. The thing you bring up, the reason, the wound you organize an identity around, or you can do something much harder, much less satisfying in the moment, and much more useful over time. You can get back to work, not because you've forgiven anything, not because the anger is gone, because the anger left alone does not rebuild a single dollar of what was taken. It just sits there, keeping the wound open. For an audience of one, you choose the harder thing. You fly back to the city where your career started. You don't have anywhere to live. You crash on a friend's couch. Someone you used to work with, someone who remembers who you were before any of this happened. You borrow money from your mother, the same mother who taught you to save, now helping you survive the exact disaster her lessons were supposed to prevent. You borrow from friends. You take meetings in clothes that are not new. You sit in waiting rooms auditioning for jobs you would have turned down 5 years earlier. This is not the comeback montage yet. This is just Tuesday, then Wednesday, then the Tuesday after that. You tell your agent something simple: I will take anything. Not the role you deserve, not the role that matches what you used to be known for. Anything. A line in a commercial, a background part nobody will remember, a role so small it would have insulted you in your old life. You take it anyway, because the only way back from a number that says zero is one small unglamorous job after another, each one slightly less small than the last, if you are patient and willing to be embarrassed in front of people who used to recognize your face for a much bigger reason. One role becomes another. A small part leads to a slightly bigger one. A slightly bigger one puts you back in a room with people who remember what you were capable of before any of this happened. It is slow. It does not feel like progress most days. But 3 years after the driveway, the call finally comes. The biggest opportunity of your entire career. Not despite everything that happened. Built brick by brick. On top of it, you did not get this call because you are owed it. You got it because you spent 3 years doing the work. Nobody was watching after the one night. Everybody who mattered to you disappeared. Here is what I keep coming back to with this one. It is not the theft Betrayal like that exists everywhere. It is common enough to not even be the interesting part of the story. It is the driveway, 8 hours, parked outside a dark house, waiting for proof of something he already suspected long before the sun came up. That is the part of this story nobody talks about enough, not the loss itself, the specific private agony of watching your old life end in real time, alone, in a car, with no one there to confirm what you already know. Betrayal does not break you. It can't. It's just an event. A single terrible decision someone else made with access they should never have had. What breaks you, if anything does, is what happens after. The choice between becoming a person defined by what was taken, or becoming a person who simply starts again, slower, smaller, less certain, but moving. He sat in that driveway and watched the sun come up on a life that no longer existed. And the next morning, he got up anyway. Not because he wasn't devastated, because devastation and getting up are not opposites. Sometimes they happen in the same body, on the same day, in that order. You can lose everything you saved in a single betrayal. What you cannot lose is what you do the morning after. That is the whole story, not the accountant, not the lawsuit, not even the driveway. One sentence. He lost $1.5 million to someone he trusted completely, and he built something no lawsuit could ever have given back to him. Anyway,